Hello there, you're welcome to another interesting edition of my podcast where I give you my own opinion on the stories that are dominating the media space or the social media space or stories that are making the rounds generally. Well, the football season has been far long gone now, the Champions League and all the major football competition that keep us glued to the TV, that keeps us busy. But for football fans, they still have something to sort of hold on to, and that is the FIFA Confederation Cup. The FIFA Confederation Cup, started way back in 1992, first and foremost as an invitational tournament. The competition was then hosted by King Fahd of Saudi Arabia, where continental champions come together to play a tournament. So initially it was an invitational competition way back in 1992, and I remember the very first team that represented Africa was Ivory Coast, being that they won the African Cup of Nations that year, and subsequently the next one after was in 1995, which was hosted. It was hosted in Saudi Arabia at the time. Nigeria represented, Africa, and eventually the FIFA took over the competition and made it one of the competition in their calendar. And the FIFA Confederation Cup normally comes up a year before the World Cup. Generally, it is seen to be the dress rehearsal or the precursor to the real competition itself. That's the World Cup, which will be hosted in Russia next year. So the Confederation Cup is normally hosted in the hosting country of the World Cup hosting country a year before. And of course, at the moment, we are kind of being preoccupied with the FIFA Confederation Cup, which is being hosted in Russia, and Cameroon is representing Africa, having won the African Cup of Nations way back in February. And the competition kicked off on Saturday, and we've had all kind of games have been played, and we've had results already. That are, all the very first set of games have been played already. On Saturday, we had the opening ceremony between Russia and New Zealand, and Russia won by 2 goals to 0. And yesterday we had two interesting games. Portugal versus Mexico, and it was 2-goal apiece. And Cameroon, the African representative, lost to Chile by 2 goals to 0. And today, Australia narrowly lost to Germany by 2 goals to 3. So all the first games have been played already, and from tomorrow we're going to move on to the the next games, which is going to be Russia versus Portugal, Mexico versus New Zealand, and it goes on and on till Thursday and Saturday. But what has sort of dominated the Confederation Cup so far, what has got football lovers, football world talking, is not the game, not the teams themselves, but rather the introduction of the VAR, which is the video assistant referee. That's one of the new technologies that FIFA is introducing in order to sort of get exact decisions. VARs are already being used, or the use of video technologies are already being used in sports like rugby, lawn tennis. So I think it's a decision that has been sort of long overdue now. First, one of the reasons where technology was introduced was the goal line technology. I remember the turning point for that goal line technology was the goal that Frank Lampard that got disallowed, the goal that Frank Lampard scored against Germany that got disallowed. That goal could have been the turning point for England, but they lost that game by 4 goals to 1. So since then, FIFA have been sort of succumbing to the pressure. The previous FIFA president, that's Sepp Blatter, was sort of seen to be opposed to technology, and the likes of Michel Platini too didn't really want the introduction of technology. But since the goal line technology, the latest innovation is the video assistant referee, whereby the video is consulted to make decisions, particularly when if a goal was scored and maybe the referee gets a prompting from the video assistant referees that, look, this goal may be an offside, going by our video, going by our replay, we think it's an offside. Or it can also be used as well to determine whether to determine a goal, you know. So that's what sort of dominated the highlights of the game played yesterday. In the game between Portugal and Mexico, that was where we actually got the brunt of the VAR, where a goal that was supposedly scored by Portugal was disallowed, and under normal circumstances, given the human aspect of it, that would have counted as a goal. So obviously, what got a lot of people talking is the time, how long it takes for a decision to be reached, the excitement and emotions that comes as a result of scoring a goal sort of gets taken away. Players now have to sort of wait a bit. There seems to be that element of suspense before a player can actually celebrate a goal or not. So those are the talking headlines, and we also saw the video VAR in full effect in the game between Chile and Cameroon. Chile actually had a goal disallowed via the VAR. Under normal circumstances, the goal by Vargas from a normal human perspective would have counted as a very good goal, but the VAR ruled and said, well, that wasn't a goal. And towards the end of the game as well, the VAR actually ruled a goal in favor of the Chilean, despite the fact that the assistant referee has waved his flag for offside, but the VAR overruled that decision and stated that was a goal. So that was what dominated the media space. The media personalities, football fans have been hearing their views. Some do not support it, while some feel that is a good step in the right direction. But my own personal opinion, as I've always done, on my podcast, I give my opinion, is the fact that I think we need to embrace technology. Technology is meant to help us. It's meant to, and is not necessarily to take over the human aspect, but to help the human element of the game. As I've mentioned earlier on, it's being used in rugby. It's being used in lawn tennis. I see no reason why we can't use that same technology in football. I think football, in my opinion, has been long overdue. The people that are sort of rebelling or revolting against it are people just are not adverse. They are opposed to change. I welcome it with full arms, and I'm glad that the FIFA chairman, the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, has sort of endorsed it and seen it as the way forward for football, and that's where I see it as well too. I cannot wait for the full implementation of the VAR. So I think, people will complain for now, but eventually they will get used to it. So I don't know what you think. I don't know what your thoughts are on the use of the VAR. Drop me your notes in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And until I come you again, have a lovely day. And this is Perspective from Oba.